Hi, Rich Hoffman here. SpaceX. I like talking about SpaceX and the space economy. Just for context, it was great in the middle of January 2025 that they were able to catch again, which shows repeatability. One of the booster rockets that carries the Starship into space. Huge technological achievement. Looked great the first time. The second time shows you that they understand this thing. There'll probably be some little accidents here and there that happen, and they'll work that out in subsequent launches. Plan is to launch another attempt for Starship in next month, February 2025. The Starship itself exploded. It had some problems. It's a new design, so they had some problems with pressurization and letting gases out, which created a bulge in the hull and caused some compromised effects going through the atmosphere, and it blew up. Not a big deal, not a huge problem. As far as technical viability, again, what makes SpaceX good is they're willing to make mistakes and then learn from them, instead of spending a lot of money like a lot of cost plus companies do, and avoiding spending money so they can avoid mistakes. It costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of money to make mistakes. It costs a lot more money to get results without making them. So that's what the model for SpaceX is, and the rate of resolution is quite dramatic, and it's forcing everybody in the industry to change the way they think about these things, which is good. Should have happened a long time ago. It's happening now, and we're seeing the impact on this great new space economy. And what's significant about all this, again, repeatability of these booster rockets that can super heavy, that can go into space to launch a payload, come back, land where it took off from. Even on this particular mission, the Starship itself, the payload, the vehicle, what was supposed to go into space, didn't make it. They've shown that they clearly can do that, and that a couple of mistakes here and there are much more valuable in what you learn and how to make it repeatable in the future. The amount of launches matter more than a few launches that you don't have any mistakes. That doesn't give you much data. Mistakes give you data, and SpaceX has been willing to and make that investment. And then that gives you the ability to have this viable approach. That's now you have launches happening all the time, and when you have this miracle happen with this super heavy booster rocket comes back from space and lands where it took off from, just like the Falcon rockets do, people are sort of clapping a little bit and thinking, well, okay, what's the next big thing? So that's how far along we've come in a very short period of time, where it's not that big of a deal to see one of those come back after the second attempt. And when you do have a massive explosion of a space vehicle, people shrug their shoulders and say, okay, well, when's the next launch? Just a few hours before all that happened, Blue Origin launched their rocket, and it had on it a lunar module made by Firefly. And how about that? That's very cool, and people weren't really paying attention to it because SpaceX has been soaking up the market. And so here's Blue Origin that is taking a lunar module to go collect specimens and return to the moon and give us some feedback ahead of the Artemis missions. It would have taken a few years ago NASA a decade to do 2 launches like that. 1 launch would have been an overwhelming feat. 2 launches, and the way that NASA was designed to go, and all the defense contractors out there that feed the space market, the cost plus model, where you can't afford a public relations nightmare when something goes wrong, and so you spend tons and tons of money avoiding doing something, throwing money at something, hoping that you don't have any mistakes. The rate of resolution is the key here, and the kind of economy is going to flow out of the space race. And seeing 2 launches like that happen within hours of each other, and there are many other launches. There's constant Falcon rockets going to space, taking people, payload to the International Space Station, and carrying satellites into space. And Starlink is able to be covered everywhere in the world now. You can get a signal anywhere you go. It's quite amazing to see. It's an astonishing technological achievement. And here we are, watching this stuff happen very, very quickly. And the best companies in the world that are going to catch up to it are those who can break away from the cost plus model and get into the rapid development, invest, learn from mistakes quickly, don't repeat the same ones over and over again, and drive competency to a high level. Because that's the only way you've been able to expand this market into what you're seeing in the middle of January 2025 with these magnificent launches. And it's a sign of things to come as far as how the space economy is going to function, especially under the Trump administration. I can't reiterate enough, when you are encouraging investment, and these ships, these rockets don't have people on them. It's all driven now by artificial intelligence and self-guidance systems. So the risk to human life just isn't there. Now you're just risking hardware and flight patterns and making sure you don't interrupt airline travel. So as long as you can avoid those kinds of pitfalls, you can end up with a high rate of resolution on technological development. And what we're seeing with all these space launches is really, truly amazing. It's something that I think science fiction's been thinking about for a long time, but now we're seeing it happen in the realm of science fact. And it's a wonderful thing to witness. I'm a big fan. I'm looking forward to it. All this happening right before the inauguration of Trump is telling, because I think what you're going to see is at least over 20 launches by SpaceX over the next year in 2025, the first year of Trump's presidency. And little concern because the Starship did break up in space, and it interrupted some flight patterns. The fear that FAA is going to hold up the permit process, I think under Biden would have been a lot worse. I think under Trump, you're going to see reasonable protocols taken to learn from the mistakes, not interrupt the next attempt, because the value of these achievements is far greater than the risk. And only when you can develop a competency by practicing these things so much and getting the public so that it becomes consciously not such a miracle to see a booster rocket return back to Earth from space and land exactly where it took off from. Once you accept that that's a reality, now you can advance kind of an Overton window kind of thing. You can advance human consciousness to expectations that then require success instead of clapping because of it. Success should be expected, not an exceptional accident that occurs. And typically when you have cost plus contracts built to avoid any kind of risk, because you have a lot of timid types that are running the bureaucratic process in the background, you end up throwing a lot of money at something and getting very little results. And what we're seeing now, it's been talked about for a very long time, been speculated about in science fiction novels for many years. Now we're seeing it happen in reality. And now you have Elon Musk, richest man in the world, Jeff Bezos, second richest man in the world, investing the amount of money they've been able to make into these great companies, empowering people to increase the rate of resolution on technological achievement. And now we're seeing the results of it, and they're exciting. It's wonderful to see. I'm looking very forward to the next launches. It was good to see that this launch number 7 from SpaceX, the return to catch the booster rocket a second time and prove that the first one wasn't a fluke, was overwhelmingly successful. And what gets learned from these future Starship rocket designs, occasionally one's going to blow up, one's going to have an accident, things are going to not hold up very well. But what SpaceX does is learn from each one of those and then builds a solid process that continues to perpetuate the level of expectation forward to where you can have repeatability that you can trust. And that's a miracle of what we've seen in the middle of January 2025, just ahead of the Trump inauguration, in 4 years of a Trump administration that is going to empower more of these types of people to do big, great things faster than they've ever done before. And again, on that Blue Origin rocket, we had a lunar module from a Texas-based company full of innovation, Firefly. And we're going to be back on the moon looking around in ways that we haven't for many years. And that's going to be revolutionary. Can't wait for that to happen. That's where humans belong. Continue to explore. If you've explored every corner of the world, the Earth, now we need to go to other planets and every corner of the universe we can get to and learn all we can, because that's what human beings are supposed to do. It's a wonderful thing. Going back to the moon, not just once, twice, or 3 times, but perpetually. And it's within our grasp, and it's happening as we speak. Very great to see. It's Rich Hoffman here. Share, subscribe, make tomorrow a better day. If you ever read my book, The Gunfighter's Guide to Business, I think you'll love it. Anyway, have a good day. See you later.